Hello, everybody. It's Joe, aka Nerdfist. Oh my god, you guys. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. This has been confirmed. This comes down directly from Marvel.com. Jon Brenthal, who you might remember played Shane in AMC's The Walking Dead, has been cast as Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, in Season 2 of Daredevil on Netflix. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm so excited. I'm about to have an nerdgasm. It's gonna come all over your face. Ah, ah, ah. Anyways, let's talk about it. I freaking loved Daredevil. I freaking loved it so much. It was such a good show. It has quickly become, definitely my most anticipated show of 2016. Probably my favorite show. Netflix show. I loved Orange is the New Black. I loved, House of Cards, but Daredevil, to me, blew them all away. And I've always been a big fan of Daredevil. I got into comics when I was a kid, probably around the age of, 9 or 10, and it was really like an overnight thing. It was like I went to school and, just all of a sudden, all my friends were, into comics, and they were trading comic book, cards, and at that age, what your friends are into kind of becomes what you're into. If your friends are into comics, you're into comics. If your friends are into, Magic the Gathering, you're into Magic the Gathering. So it was really overnight, all of a sudden, I'm into comic books now. And I can remember my stepfather, some of the few, positive memories I have of my stepfather, or, my then stepfather, was him taking me to the comic book store. And I remember we'd sit there and we'd look at, old horror comics, old Tales from the Crypt, and he was a big Daredevil fan and had been since he was a kid, and he gave me, all of his old, Daredevil comics. I still have them to this day, and I remember looking at them as a kid, and this was, back in the, the early, 90s, and these comics then were already, 15 years old, if not maybe older than that. And it was during that weird run when Daredevil had this weird, like, yellow suit. I don't know if y'all remember that, but definitely not the iconic, red suit that he has now. And I remember I've always had a bit of a soft spot for Daredevil, even though he wasn't always my favorite. When I first got into comics, Spider-Man was the big one. Spider-Man was what I really liked, and I remember the Fox Kids TV show, and even a few years before that, I got way into Batman, and still am into Batman. But I remember that 1989 Tim Burton movie came out, and it was the freaking summer of Batman, and freaking Christmas 1990 or maybe 89. Freaking, it was a Batman Christmas, and everything I got was freaking Batman related. And I got the Batmobile and the Bat plane and the Bat wing. And the Batcave playset, and all the figures. And there was only 3 figures. There was Batman, the Joker, and Bob for some weird reason. But I remember I had freaking everything that came out for Batman toy wise. At least it seemed like I got for Christmas that year. And so I've always really been into comic books and superheroes and stuff. So I'm really glad to see that. They're treating Batman, or not Batman, Daredevil with such respect, giving him his own TV show, because the treatment of Daredevil, cinematically has not been the best thus far. I think we all remember the the Ben Affleck version in 2003, 2004, which gets a lot of hate, and it's not entirely deserved. It's an okay / mediocre comic book movie. Definitely not the worst. There's a lot, worse comic book movies out there. And if you haven't seen it, definitely check out the director's cut of Daredevil, the rated R version, because it is a vast improvement over the cinematic Daredevil cut. So definitely think about giving it a second chance, because maybe it's not as bad as you remember, or maybe it is that bad. I'm just, I'm not remembering it, correctly. Maybe I should go back and watch it. But I freaking loved Daredevil. I freaking loved what they did with the Kingpin. They definitely made him a more, two-dimensional character. Even though he's the most powerful crime boss in the city, he suffers from anxiety and has a hard time talking to women, and is very self-conscious, and as a sufferer, of anxiety. I found that very easy to relate to, and he was very fun to watch. Even probably, more so than Daredevil and Matt Murdock, and that kind of is the case with a lot of these, comic book adaptations. Is that the villain oftentimes is more fun to watch than the hero. I mean, think of, The Dark Knight. The Joker is more fun to watch most of the time than Batman. So I was really pleased with the treatment of it, and I'm really glad to see the Punisher joining this this universe, because the Daredevil universe, the TV universe, is the same as the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They exist in the same space, unlike the DC shows, which are separate from the movies. So on you can have a different Flash than in the new Justice League movie that they're eventually going to make. Which I guess is what they're leading up to with Batman versus Superman. So I'm really glad to see the Punisher coming into the fold. I've always been a huge fan of the Punisher. He's probably my favorite Marvel character. Especially when I was a kid, I freaking loved the Punisher because it was a little bit naughty, and it kind of felt like you weren't supposed to have the Punisher comics as a kid because they were very violent. I can remember buying, I think I got the first 5 issues of Punisher 2099 when they came out, and they were very gory for the time, for the early 90s, and there's always been Punisher content. There's Punisher games. You're probably looking at one right now. There's the Punisher has always been a big part of my childhood, and going back to the when did it come out, 90, the Punisher, Dolph Lundgren Punisher movie, which is not bad. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I don't really know how it holds up to my memory of it, but I remember really liking it as a kid, and I can remember a lot of times knowing that the Punisher movie was going to be coming on late at night, and getting up and sneaking downstairs and watching the Punisher movie while my parents were asleep upstairs. So I've always loved the Punisher, and the 2004 Thomas Jane movie had its moments. I didn't like it as much as I wanted to. I wanted to love it. I wanted it to be amazing, and it really wasn't. It has some good parts, don't get me wrong. The scene with the Russian is freaking amazing, and I love Thomas Jane as the Punisher, but the rest of the movie just felt a little bit flat to me. The more recent Punisher movie, which I think came out in 2009, I believe, maybe 2010, is Punisher Warzone. And that, to me, is the closest we've gotten to a real Punisher movie. Even though that movie had some problems, too, it was a little bit closer to how the Punisher should be. And I'm hoping they kind of take a little bit of that and bring it into the TV show, because what I believe this is leading up to is a Punisher TV show, and there's already been rumors of that and hints of that. The showrunner of Daredevil has already said that he wants to make a Punisher TV show, and I think the Punisher lends itself better to TV than it does to movies, possibly even more so than Daredevil. And a lot of people have been speculating, that the Punisher could be the bad guy in season 2 of Daredevil, because the Punisher did kind of start out as a bad guy. His first appearance was in Spider-Man, and he was kind of like a villain to Spider-Man, even though in that storyline he was kind of tricked by, I can't remember if it was Hobgoblin or Green Goblin, it might have even been the Vulture. I can't remember. It's been so long. But he was kind of tricked into believing that Spider-Man was a bad guy, and that's why he goes after him. So even though he was, adversary of Spider-Man, he thought he was doing good at the time. But he's always been one of my favorites, and I can't wait to see him portrayed in the Daredevil TV show. And what I think is going to happen is I think that he's going to start off as a cop. I don't think that he's just going to enter into the universe. I think that they're going to are going to kind of treat this as a jumping off point for the TV Punisher series, or the Netflix Punisher series. I think that they're going to use Daredevil Season 2 as a way to kind of introduce the character and kind of maybe even make his origin part of the storyline of Season 2. I could very much see him being a police officer, maybe coming back from being a Marine, gets a job as a police officer, gets somehow involved with maybe going after, Daredevil, or, something involving the Kingpin, and the Kingpin, kills his family, and that's what, creates the Punisher. And I could see there being a lot of, tension between, the Punisher and Daredevil because of their, two different ways of how they handle, fighting crime, where the Punisher just kills everybody. And Daredevil in the show has kind of taken on more of a Batman-esque stance, to where he'll beat the crap out of, he'll cripple somebody, he'll beat them to a bloody pulp, but he doesn't kill people. So I think it's going to be a very interesting season, and I can't wait to see what they do with the Punisher. Hopefully they do it justice. I hope that they get the look right and get the feel right, and I believe the casting is perfect. I didn't really, when I've kind of, pictured, casting for, the Punisher in my head, I never really thought of Jon, Brenthal, maybe it's just because I don't, recognize him as being a big actor, and I mean, he's not necessarily a big actor, but he's definitely proven on, stuff like The Walking Dead, that he can do a action-oriented role, and also, he was great in, The Wolf of Wall Street. That kind of shows that he has more acting range, and also the ability to kind of do, a more of a comedic performance. And the Punisher needs a little bit of that. The Punisher is not a comedic character. He's no Spider-Man, but there needs to be a balance between the gritty, gore aspect of the Punisher, the tortured, part of Punisher, and also the Punisher that, can, crack a joke here and there, when he's killing people. And that's what the Punisher does. If you go back and look at, the 2004 Punisher movie, that fight with the Russian is brutal and, painful to watch, but it's also pretty funny. And also the War Journal or War, Warzone movie from 2009, there's a lot of funny parts in it. And so I really hope that they, kind of use the Punisher a lot in Season 2. I don't necessarily think he's going to be the villain. I think they're building the villain up to be Bullseye, and there was also rumors of Jason Statham as Bullseye. Apparently he was in final negotiations to be Bullseye, but that is not going to happen now. Apparently, a lot of people are speculating that the rumors squashed, that the rumors put an end to Jason Statham as Bullseye, because a lot of people have said, the rumors were so positive and everybody thought it was amazing casting, and it is. That is the perfect Bullseye, because he can do comedy, he can do action, and it would be cool to see Jason Statham square off against the Punisher and Daredevil. And I'm already thinking of it like a Punisher TV show. It's freaking Daredevil Season 2. But so I'm kind of disappointed that Statham is not going to be taking on Bullseye, but I'm really excited, overjoyed that that the Punisher is going to be coming back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or the TV universe, because the rights were not in their hands for the longest time. It's very similar to Fantastic Four and X-Men. I think a lot of people would like to see the rights go back to Marvel, because Marvel has been really knocking it out of the park lately. With the Avengers and Captain America, the Winter Soldier, which is probably the best Marvel movie that has come out so far. So I'm really looking forward to this. I can't wait to see how it looks and what it looks like. Hopefully we don't have too much longer to wait. I think season 2 is already in production. They're already on Jon Brenthal's IMDb. It's already listed that he's already done 1 episode so far. So so hopefully we don't have too much longer to wait to see him take on the role of Punisher, and hopefully this leads to more Punisher in the future. Hopefully a TV show. I think that they're building up to it seems like they're definitely building up to a Defenders storyline. So maybe they'll kind of add the Punisher to the Defenders, or maybe they might even be going the Marvel Knights route. So I'm really looking forward to see what happens. And thanks for watching, guys. Tell me what you think about the casting of the Punisher, what you want out of a Punisher show, or how you think they're going to use him in Daredevil, in the comment section. And remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next show. Bye. Bye. That was kind of high pitched. Bye. Bye-bye.